Welcome to the OAPN Podcast with your host, Adarsh Sakare. No bullshit, no cuts. 100% raw conversations with 0% fucks to give. We don't encourage the consumption of alcohol, but if you want to open up a cold one while you watch this, it's not a bad idea.
Welcome to episode number 65 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. Yet another episode. The beautiful thing about this episode is we're shooting at 7:14 as of now in the morning. Feels good. It was a request from our guest, a very legit request, which we of course said yes to because we're sweet like that.
Wow. No.
Now I made it look like.
No credit to the guest. We are sweet. Okay.
No, I'll come to you. I'm just like taking the first minute for us.
I mean, they're not sweet enough to give me alcohol.
Oh. Okay. Sorry for not giving you all the context. But anyway. So, Kenisha is also sweet enough to turn up here in spite of a hectic schedule. There you go. Your credits also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Turning up is my credit, ladies and gentlemen. Just got to show up.
So, Kenisha is here. A little about Kenisha. She's a musician, a singer, an artist, a spiritual therapist, which we'll kind of explore because I had some questions on that. And of course, a performer that's gotten a lot of limelight over the last 2 years at least. Over the last 2 years, things have been picking up. Has the ability to entertain like a huge ass audience with what she does. And it's
Ass
clear.
Pinky.
Wow. It's clear that she enjoys what she does. And she has a nice vibe, good energy. We reached out to her like 48 hours ago and she was sweet enough to get this in before she goes back to Mumbai. And if you know Kenisha, great. We are going to attempt at try and bring out things that maybe she hasn't spoken to you about. If you don't know Kenisha so much and you've watched her perform or you've heard her sing in the past, here's your chance to get to know her a little better. So, welcome to the episode. Welcome, Kenisha.
Namaskara.
Namaskara.
Hey, Gibira.
Now, you guys tell me if she has an accent or not.
Listen, I scored 98 in Kannada. Sacred Hearts Girls High School.
Even I copied in Kannada. So that doesn't like prove
all my
anything.
family listening to me on this podcast, I did not copy. I was such a good child. I studied so hard. My mom always looked me in the face and said, "Who are you if you cannot do a language correctly?" So namaskara ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನನ್ನ accent ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಡಿ.
Okay, madam. Okay. Sorry. So let's talk about that. Where's the accent from? You do have an accent.
I don't have an accent.
Aditya,
I feel
what
like.
do you think? Come on, man. Like, yeah. See, there you go.
What?
So where's the accent from? Kenishaa Francis.
Okay, I don't know. I honestly don't think I have an accent. I feel like I've always spoken this way. But because you know my family's like we've been all across, and you know I've grown up in Africa for a bit,
Okay.
and then I went to a good school, and my mom always like she was obsessed with nuns for some reason. Not in the wrong way. Don't think like that.
This is like
let's not go there.
This is not a 7 a.m. episode.
No.
Okay.
Not the nun, Macha.
Fine.
Like the nuns.
Okay,
you know, the
nuns.
convents.
Okay.
So I think she always she was friends with one of these nuns from London who used to live here, and she would always come home, and she was always close to us. So I think that influenced me in the beginning part of my years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was an influence. Perfect. So anyway, glad you're here. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you for having me.
I think
It's very kind of you guys to bring me on a personal note.
Wow. Nice. Plug in.
Yeah, and I think you guys have been talking to some really, really cool people. I mean, 65 is a great number to be at. So congratulations.
Yeah.
I hope it gets to 65 million.
Yeah, I mean,
episodes.
God's grace. It
Yes.
should. Thanks for making it here. I think when we started looking you up and doing our stalking, which is almost our daily homework.
That's the one time I should be okay with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's our job. We can't
Of course.
I think it's pretty nice to see how things took an upward spiral for you, and of course there are many accomplishments on your end. But I think one thing that kind of stood out for me is the ability of yours to kind of take the energy in of hundreds of people and be able to guide it to a great experience. And I think the fact that you really enjoy it comes out very naturally, from whatever I've seen. Yeah, so that's pretty nice to see.
Thank you. Very humbled. Thank you.
What's the best part about it all? What do you enjoy about all of this?
I mean, there's so many things to it. I
Give me
kind
something.
of wake up in gratitude every other day because I'm able to do this.
Yeah.
Most importantly, and to also, I know it's not nice to be in a place where you want to feel validated, and it should be an inward act for yourself. But I feel like every time I've been on stage, every time I am on stage, continuous tense, there's a sense of gratification that comes from the people that are watching me. Like the minute we have this entry that we do before I get on stage, and I sing something in the back, just from behind the stage first, and then everything's fine until then. But when I get on stage and I start my first song, I can see it in people's eyes that, okay, you know what, this is going to be like a good evening.
Okay.
And she has the voice and all of that. So the minute I see that, it just instantly makes me feel like I need to work 10 times harder, or I need to make sure that tonight goes so well for myself that I could kind of reflect that off for them. And then when I'm done, I've always I'm not yet one of those big ass celebrities, since we've already said ass on this podcast already.
Gonna be talking about some ass. No, I'm kidding.
We got them. Both of us. I haven't checked his ass out. but-
Wow. No, we are not checking each
Yeah, no,
other's
we're
ass
not
out,
doing
yeah.
that. We're not
Yeah.
doing that, guys. They have stalked mine.
Yeah, not at
I've
7
not
a.m.
done that.
I'm not suggesting it'll happen at 7 p.m. as well. I mean, just clarifying it right there.
7 p.m. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. No. So I was. It's really nice to kind of be in the space where people. I mean, you're not searching for validation. It comes so naturally. The appreciation comes so naturally.
And that feels good.
Yeah, and even with my band, right? I mean, they give me all the strength on stage. It's so important to kind of vibe with the people you're working with. I know. I live in Bombay right now, and I'm friends with such amazing artists. But I hear so many things from their bands, when they're
Which is
like,
really messed
yeah,
up.
when they're like, you know what, I'm not treated well on stage, and I'm yelled at on stage and all of that stuff. But I can't even do that with my musicians, because it's only because of them I'm able to fulfill my part on stage, So I have such a great time because they are amazing. And the experience on the whole is this fairy who can just wake up at any point and just at the click of a finger look the prettiest, feel the nicest, and have the greatest day. So that's just literally those 6 hours on
Lovely.
yeah.
Yeah, I think as an artist, that point when you get on stage and when you start to sing and the audience is tuned in and you are tuned in, you suddenly, it hits you that this is all it's about.
Yeah. On that
This
note,
is-
please tune into OAPN network as much as you can.
Wow, thank you. Plug-in, free plugins coming your way today.
And I didn't even get daru for this shit.
Oh my God. Aditya, get the bottle out. boss.
Okay, but at least maybe get me idli vada sambar
Done.
for
We'll do
the
that.
plugins.
We'll do that. But yeah, don't you feel like that's the moment where you truly feel yourself. Like that's who you are. That's somewhere linked to why you're here.
I think so. I'll tell you what happened, or how it sort of came around. You know, when I first started my career in singing, I used to sing in church. I used to do like solos in the choir and
Yeah, you
stuff.
have the vibe for it. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I mean,
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
I
Is that
can
how I
imagine
look?
you. I can imagine you being the girl at every like annual day and
Yeah.
valedictory, and
Yeah.
you're like this prettiest girl right up in front,
Oh.
and all
How
the
sweet.
musicians
Thank
like
you.
waiting for you to get into your zone.
Thank you. That's very
Yeah.
sweet. That's very
Yeah.
sweet. Well, maybe that was not the case when I started.
is it?
It was
Okay.
always mom who said, "I'm not going to serve you breakfast if you miss church
That's sweet.
on Sundays." And so I needed a reason back in the day to not miss church on Sundays. And then I said choir was the best option. So I used to sing in the choir, and there was this person who met me, and he said, I do these. I do these like not tiny shows, but then like 3 or 4 hour shows at the Barbecue Nation in Bangalore or at hotels and stuff like that. And at that point in time, it seemed like so against my family. It seemed like back
You
in the
can't
day.
sing at the bar.
Yeah. And back in the day, it was so much more not so open, right? And I also come from a pretty orthodox family
Was it?
that.
Both parents Orthodox, you think?
Well, I wouldn't. I think they'd feel bad if I'd say orthodox, but they definitely wanted me to have a good life. And at that point in time, singing in a bar wasn't considered a good life.
Yeah, I think the word orthodox is looked at very differently. Maybe the meaning that I'm pertaining to is more of a conservative approach, more of a, hey, you know what, let's be safe in our approach.
Yeah.
Let's not get out there too much,
Yeah.
get in people's attention,
Yeah.
take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say as orthodox, than
Yeah.
more in the values, principles, etc.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't even that. My parents have been wonderful to me. They've always given me permission to do anything. As a 11-year-old or a 15-year-old, I didn't have like the need to like explain myself if I needed to do something or I needed something. My mom always came from a place where, if she wants to do this, if she's feeling it, we're going to like let her be. But I think career-wise, they always wanted me to like, I wanted to be an IAS officer. Clearly,
Really?
nothing went according to plan. Because they also said Kannada accent if they're Barbary.
See, the truth comes out 18 minutes into the episode.
Oh,
I was honest
Well, I was holding it in.
for 18 long
That's what
minutes.
she said.
Congratulations.
That's what she said. And that's what he thanked her for. Jesus! I don't know what we're doing here. Jesus, forgive me for I know not what I've done. He knows what he's
Those
done.
nuns are not going to be happy, let me tell you. Anyway.
Yeah, so I think it was that for my mom all the time. So she always said, I know. It takes a minute to like.
Wow.
It takes a minute to adjust to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, let's continue.
What was I saying? You're making me lose my train of thought.
See, we were speaking about, not the nuns. We were speaking about
You are
your mom.
clearly.
No, your
We
mom.
were speaking about not the nuns, but we were speaking about your mom.
Dude.
That's what Adarsh. How do you pronounce your second name?
Adarsh Sakare.
Sakare, like sugar.
Wow, there you go. Okay.
Mr.
Listen,
Sugar,
you,
can I get back to my story?
Yeah, please.
So I was saying that when I got this call and he asked me to come and audition, to see if we can sing, and at that point it was just to sing like English songs with karaoke files and stuff like that. So
I was at that bar.
Yeah. No, but
yeah.
before that happened, he wanted me to audition to first know if I can actually do justice.
Yeah.
Singing a gospel song and singing
of
other
course.
numbers is
Yeah,
like a worldly difference. So when I auditioned, I think I sang "You're Still the One" for him by Shania Twain, and he looked at me and he said, "Please, madam, you are not allowed to sing." anymore in life. I'm sorry.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I came and I assumed that you were going to be able to sing. Please don't. And please give this up. I'm sorry I even called on you. And so I had this like, how could you do that to me? You know, I've always been on stage. I've always sang and danced on stage. I've always like won prizes. I won like the Nightingale of my school and all of that, right? So I was like, how can you do this to me, dude? And so I sat at home for a month. Every day I'll put on YouTube. I put on like Whitney Houston. So my greatest idols are Whitney Houston and Beyonce and Adele and Tina Turner and voices like that, right? Maybe I sound or the
You have
gravitas.
glimpses.
Sorry?
I mean, you have glimpses where it's clear that they are your idols.
Yeah.
And the work that I've seen of yours,
Yeah.
it was...
Could also be because my mom like brought me up to
Okay.
that kind of music and stuff.
Sure.
So I worked really hard for 30 days and I called him back in a month and I said, listen, can I like come and sing for you again? And he was like, yeah, but you know.
Yen madam, ade.
Yeah, and all of that. And I said, no, just give me 10 minutes. I'll come and just. Yeah. And then I sang and then he was like, sure, we can work. Okay. And then I went and told my mom that and she was like, I mean, this cannot happen like in our life. How am I going to find you a boy? And how can I tell someone that my child is singing in a bar? And I was like, at that point in time, poverty had hit our home so badly.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like we were in a place where my parents would...
You clearly don't give out that. The fact that, you know, poverty can strike where you come from.
Abhi nahi, kabhi nahi, ho gaya intezar. You know, it was in back in the day.
What happened?
It was more to do with my dad was an alcoholic.
Okay.
And he came with this baggage of a superior family that sort of gave him the crown, but yet downed him with everything that he was doing. So he couldn't really handle the whole thing. And he was an alcoholic, and that obviously affected my mom and me. Mm-hmm. And at some point, my dad lost his business. Mm-hmm. I mean, much earlier in time when I think I was like 10 or 11-ish. Mm-hmm. We went from having it all to like having nothing at all.
And the blame goes to the alcohol?
No, but the blame went to me.
The blame goes to you? Why?
Yeah, because people in the family, you know, I'm the only child, and I was born pretty late to my parents. Like they had me about 17 years after they got married.
They got married. Okay.
So, and I don't know, for some reason, the family always insinuated that, you know, she was born and she took away all your luck.
Wow.
So because
they
of that,
the timing ideally.
Yeah, but it was 10 years into my birth. Very smart people in the family.
Smart.
Yeah.
Congratulations to everyone.
It's okay. But I'm so glad they did that back in the day.
But this is what, your dad's side? I'm
going to say mostly everyone. Okay. Because I feel like, you know, once you infiltrate a certain set of people, it just travels. And at some point, my parents were so influenced by it that they also...
started to kind of believe it?
They put me under that lens. Let me just put it that way. So
that's pretty harsh.
Yeah. So life at home was always about what can she do to not be the bad woman, you know, in existence, so to speak. So when I got this opportunity, I was somehow those 30 days that I sat with YouTube and in my bedroom and just sang it out felt like my inner child was telling me that, you know, every time you sing, I'm going to make sure I put like a rose on your head. And that for me was so gratifying. And the money was nothing. I was getting like 500 rupees a day at a barbecue nation.
Which year was this?
2013, 2013.
A decade.
Yeah, between 2012 and 2013. And I was at Barbecue Nation Monday or Tuesday to Saturday. And then we would do like a brunch at one of these 5-star hotels, Marriott and all of that. I would get like maybe $1,500 for that. And overall, I would make about 20 grand a month-ish. Let's just say that. At that point, it was so important. The money was so important to me because I just needed to like give it to my mama and say, "Ma, make me some chicken curry with pride," you know. And ragi mudde. I love ragi mudde.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah,
Respect.
it started like that, and
Respect.
I'm very glad it did.
I think that's something that I've always felt, right? Like when you've had the experience of worrying about getting food on the table, or at least you've been around, say, your parents worrying about getting food on the table, it teaches you quite a bit. And this is pretty beautiful. Just two things here, and I want to go back a little more, but just this part that you mentioned right now, the fact that you again became this girl who's saying, "I want to go sing at the bar," and is already getting people's eyebrows raised, saying, "You know what? Here she goes. Here she's gonna like mess this up. She's gonna do this other thing that we don't want her to do." Right? Does that still exist?
I feel like it existed for a very long time, not with my parents, but with my family, my extended family. Somehow my mom always would look me in my eye and say, "I know you'll walk out as my daughter and come back as my daughter." I feel like that has established my character today. You know, with all due respect to everyone out there, doing whatever they would like to do with their bodies and their minds and their and the way they sort of formulate their career, because today it's all about presentability and what you can do about how presentable you can be. I think this one statement always kept ringing in my ear, you know, but that mom would always say, she's always going to come back as my daughter. And so it never really pushed me to try the different forms of intoxication, whether it was physical or definitely not alcohol at that point in time, because I was so sick and tired of my dad and of everything that he had done. I hated the smell of alcohol. Of course, I became a kurikarchi at some point in my life, but at that point, no, I did not pick it up for the wrong reasons. And then I suddenly got this call from this guy who said, "Listen, we're people are liking your voice here and there right now, and we've got this contract at a 5-star hotel to do a jazz night. I'm not going to take names and stuff like that."
Yeah, that's fine.
And I was like, jazz was so beautiful, because at that point in time, I was actually learning jazz with London College of Music.
Lovely.
And somehow jazz came to me naturally, you know, the runs, or you're always established for the genre that you sort of initiate with, initiate yourself with, or something. So anyway, we switched over from barbecue to this. It was like a madam has got a promotion. Come to jazz. From 500 rupees, I went to 1,000 rupees a day. I was so happy. Like my monthly income went from 20,000 to like 35,000. I was like, "Ma, I'm killing it, yo. What do you think?" And that was about like having being in a place where there was a saxophonist, a pianist, like the proper jazz setup. It was so new to me because I've seen it in the movies. I've seen like Ella Fitzgerald do her thing on stage, and I was a super happy girl doing that, until there were like this hotel attracted a lot of politicians and a lot of these people who own colleges, and with all due respect to the good ones in the community. But there were this bunch of people that would just come, sit on the sofas, and as soon as I start singing, "Yeah, ye to gati hai," and then they would like throw money at me, and all that had happened.
Appreciative.
Yeah, they were super appreciative. I made extra cash.
Lovely.
Although they didn't give it to me fully, the band would split it, which is the right way to go about it. But so say, for example, I make 1,000 rupees a night. Their tips I'm talking about only this one table. After they saw me the first day, they would come every time I'm there. And they would at least spend like 25, 30K. They would just...
And that would be split amongst the band.
Shower.
You'd get like a 5K.
Something like that.
That's like
which
5X.
I used for shopping entirely. Nobody knows this, by the way. Ma, if you're listening. Yeah.
So 5K extra.
Yeah. But what I was getting at is, at that point in time, I think I had the permission to choose to take my to deal with my career the way I wanted it, because now I had validation for my voice, I had validation for the way I looked, I had
And you got some
validation
money
for
also
my
coming in.
that sounds bad, but yeah.
But yeah, that's
I
the
did
truth
nothing
about
wrong.
it. Yeah, clearly. I mean, that I'm very honest about it. I'm sure like
Yeah.
this was like real hustle.
Yeah.
And okay, so that was one thing I wanted to ask you. The other thing is, of course, like I also wanted to check, right? Like you had this whole exposure to being part of the choir, knowing that you have a voice that people resonate with. But did you really want to like become this performer that you are today?
How?
Was that something you consciously chased? And at what point did that conscious chase begin?
Mm, I I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, but I know I kind
Yeah.
of think of it right now, and I never chased for it. I don't think I ever routed my career in this direction in the first place.
Lovely.
It was more about I really liked studying. I really liked. I enjoyed doing my MBA. I really wanted to be in a place. I watched my mom be in church, and she was a therapist, and she would help millions and millions and millions of people. Like, the number of people that were in love with her for her energy and her aura was just so amazing to grow up with, right? So I don't think I ever thought that this was going to be my career. But yes, as I started singing in different places, I just felt like I'm enjoying myself,
Yeah.
And
this feels good.
yeah,
And I want to feel like this more often. Like, I
yeah,
want to get more of this.
yeah. But I was feeling limited with this person I was working with in hotels and stuff like that, because I love dancing. I love jumping on stage, and
Yeah.
even like for me, I feel like dance comes to me more naturally than
Than
that.
singing.
Singing, yes, now of course it's in my blood, but then at that point, dance would just be like I would just
Yeah.
dance so happily, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
and then one note will come out from my throat when I have to sing. So I wanted to be in that space, and there was a point when I think I lost my mom in 2013.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And at that point, I was just like, this is not going to cut it for me. If I'm not here to just sit behind
Yeah.
a keyboard and just sing the way it is. And Beyonce is my life. Rihanna, Beyonce, and Shakira are my queens. Of course, Whitney Houston for the voice and Adele for the voice. But then in aura and personality, they somehow, as when they say star-eyed and the child has like candies in the eye, I always had Beyonce here and Shakira here and all of that. So I think that sort of really, really helped me figure out what I really wanted to be if I chose this as a career. And I'm still getting there. I'm still working hard, and I'm still trying to see if someday that's going to be possible. Yeah.
I think it's really beautiful. So the conscious chase wasn't there, but it did develop.
Yeah.
And that's the journey that's gotten you till here. Now, while I do understand that you enjoy being on this stage and you have the dream of maybe selling out a stadium one day. I don't know.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Amen. Tatastu.
Tastu. And you said the second time on this podcast saying, I'm not yet there, or I'm not yet such a big celebrity. So what do you think is, what's the path forward? What does Kenisha need to do? Just continue doing what you do? Or are there things that you feel like, you know what, this I got to kind of really focus on or work on? This will really like help me go, or like just keep doing what you do?
No. I have a lot of work to do. I mean, I
Like
would be
what?
I would be stupid if I said that.
Like what?
Well, I think for me, at least, the biggest challenge has been evolving with time in the society that we're living in, right? Suddenly I wake up and I'm working on my voice and I'm trying to be happy about it. And then 10 days later, this whole influencer thing is reigning the market and people are just doing that and they have like a
A
million
million
likes.
views. Yeah.
And I'm in a place where I'm worried because I've always not wanted my craft to be about how I carry it off versus the craft itself. I've always been that person, which of course I understand is not the greatest way to think about it in this timeline, especially. Two, somehow to my devious luck back in the day, uh, it's always been about a lot of physical attraction that I've had a problem with. If you want to do this, then you've got to like give into other things, and a lot of the people have been super open with me, and somehow I've attracted toxicity in that format. Obviously, because maybe
So people are associating themselves with you for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and I truly believe your everyone's perception of you is only a reflection of yourself at any given point in time.
Yeah.
At any given point.
They might not accept it, but that's the truth.
But that is the truth.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I agree.
If someone is going to come in front of you and say, "Oh my God, baby girl, you got something," and I want to like whatever, it's because you are carrying toxicity and so you're attracting something like that.
This is lovely.
You can't always blame the other person.
Beautiful.
You can't say the food is spicy because you attracted. You want spicy food here in the head.
Yeah.
You want to have pepper chicken and all of that, but then it comes to the period, oh, macha, say urita de bayu and all that. It's not possible, right?
Yeah.
So I think for all of my childhood and adolescence and my teens, especially for everything that I've
wrong
been,
people around you.
No, everything that I've gone through in life, the cards that I've been dealt with in life haven't been kind at all, So we, as humans, we carpet it as much as we can.
Yeah.
And our body is only a beautiful big memory, a big ball of memory, right? So until and unless you actually sit with yourself and find ways, either it's psychology, it's therapy with psychology or psychiatry or healing or spirituality, whichever it is, unless you get there, you are going to project absolutely from what you have. And I wasn't the most celebrated person back then because I don't think I was a nice person. If I would talk to my 20-year-old self or 25-year-old self, I'd be like, what a bitch, like stay away. The energy was that way. And so if I did attract that.
And who's to blame? Yeah,
just
that's
me.
the thing. And so you think that over time things have changed and now you have better people around you with better intentions?
Definitely. I mean, I think now more than ever,
cleansing has happened.
The cleansing is still going through. I think I'm only
I think it's
evolving.
a process.
It is.
You can't
it is.
like say it's complete.
Yeah. So that I think I definitely need to work on in terms of focusing more on my inner healing as much as I can. Every day is a choice to be able to do that. And then things will automatically get better. But I haven't been able to put out original music for the longest time for multiple reasons. It could be financial, it could be emotional. I lost my dad in 2017, and as much as I don't really talk about it too much you
lost your mom in which year you mentioned?
2013, and dad in
4 years later dad.
Yeah. My dad had Alzheimer's, and that grew to the last stage, and then he passed on. And being the only child, it hasn't. I mean, of course, it'll probably never show on my skin.
Yeah.
But it's not. You're trying to win a million battles in your head before you can win a battle outside on the ground. Yeah. So I think in between all of that, I haven't been able to put out original music. However, my Tamil single is coming out in about a few weeks.
What's it called?
It's called Idayar Solvaro. There's a great story to it. Probably we'll get into it another time. But yeah, that's coming up soon. I'm working on an EP right now. I'm working on 2 different EPs with 2 different people. My producer's based out of Toronto. Shout out to Janssen. And another friend of mine, Neelu. Shout out to you too.
Shout out to Neelu.
Nilesh Patel from Bombay. I'm working on something with him and a couple of things here and there. So now it's all out there, and it just might like be like
the fireworks might begin anytime now. Maybe it's already begun.
We'll see.
The fact that you've gone through all of this, and now you're fighting this, and things have started to occur. But maybe it's a blessing. Maybe it had to go that way.
Of course.
Right?
You're never...
You can't doubt it. That's the issue. Like, irrespective of how bad you've had it, irrespective of what cards you've been dealt with, I have truly believed that it's always for the good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you agree? And would you wish that things should have played out differently with you?
I mean, I definitely wish cards weren't this difficult, and we're talking 2% right now. I wish some of the things that have happened just didn't. I would have anyway turned out a better person.
Unnecessary stuff could have been avoided,
and that's why I blame my own energy. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not putting it on anyone else.
Yeah, when it's unnecessary, chances are it's on you.
Yeah. Not chances. It is always on you.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's always, because you say something and you mess up things with a person. That person communicates that message to 10 people. And Chinese whisper is the worst thing one can, sort of deal with. And Bangalore is so small that I found myself at some point listening to like rumors that have just become such a magnanimous I don't know, like for the lack of better word.
Tell me the worst one.
The worst one so far is Kenisha can't actually sing. She has great legs, so people just hire her to get on stage to to do her moves and stuff like that. Macha, she's carry off so good looks and all that, dude. She can't like sing and all that. So, and I'm like, oh,
that's pretty
really?
severe.
That's okay. If you feel like I can't sing, sure, I'm happy to take it. I'm not for everyone, and you don't have to really like my voice, but. It also got to a place where it felt like, because I carry myself off as a certain person, that, there's absolutely like event managers and people who I so much adore. They're just looking at the figure or what, and like, oh, Ken, let's just party in the room. I'm not that person. And then when I started hearing that, I was like,
wow.
Like I love coming back to my band after the show is done. I love for us to come back to the hotel room and eat together, drink together if we want to, and go back home together. There's no space for me for anyone else in my aura at that point in time, because I've had the greatest time on stage. That's my adrenaline. I remember I lost my mum on the 14th of October, and the 18th of October I went and did a show. Because I just I realized that it's adrenaline, I think, is the wrong word, that's the spirituality that I kind of have on stage. I feel like I'm one with the divine. I can't see anyone, man. When I get on stage, it's like wind or fire. If someone just made a bad comment before, or someone is going to look at me in a different sense, it's just that everything just and I'm just Ken. It's me. It's like it's my I, me, myself moment at that point. Not for anyone else to celebrate but me, and it's just I really don't care about all of this right now, because no one's really walked in my shoes. And in my life, I think all of 10 people would know my absolute truth, and they are so lovely to me. My friends are my family, and every time they look at me, and every time I have even the smallest achievement, like my bestest friend who lives in Delhi right now, I keep calling her Mufasa. She always looks at me, and she is my Mufasa. She's like my mama bear, you know. And she always looks at me and says, you know, Ken, every time I look at you, I gain strength, because for everything that you've been through and everything that you are right now, there's no like taking no for an answer. And that's all that I need. I don't need people, passerbys, so to speak, to be able to say, okay. And you know, it's also affected my career a lot.
Yeah, it has. It's taken a beating.
It's obviously, right? Because if
You
someone
could have done some of these things way earlier.
Yeah.
And it's the fact.
And today maybe we're in a place where we're saying, okay, we're going to accept everyone in their form, whether they're gender fluid or not, whether they're
it's come now.
Yeah, it's now, which means I can be anything I want. You'll accept it, start accepting it right now, but it wasn't the same that way, and it's affected my career. And if I had the chance, and I still do, I know so many people around me that actually cannot sing and get on stage and do their thing. I'm sorry, but I have to say it, right? Yeah. I'm not saying I'm the greatest. Yeah. I am not. I have a long way to go. Mm-hmm. But I know people who just auto-tune themselves on stage or actually can't sing and whatever. But then I would never go and demean them for anything. Everyone's going through their own struggle. Everyone's got something to do. And yeah, I think we should be supportive.
I want to get into this, right? So I've always believed like early identity as a child is our parents, right? Our first identities are who our parents are. And consciously and subconsciously, you feel the belongingness because of your parents. And if that belongingness is spoiled or taken away, you're left like wondering what's going on. Now, in your case, now you mentioned like, you know, your father had issues with alcohol, and of course, your parents passed on a few years ago, which means that identity has been, you know, physical identity doesn't exist anymore. And then you've been pushed to like form this own identity of yours, and this is enough. This is me, and this is enough. Yeah. And then you also say that you know you're a spiritual therapist. So what is it like? How do you gain confidence in your own identity today, which doesn't need to depend on your parents being here or not? And how do you feel like spiritually you're able to help people around you?
It's such a sweet question. Yeah.
Because it's not easy. I just want to know where you draw the confidence from and how you're able to give that same energy to people around you.
I'll tell you, I don't know if I've ever thought about this in the longest time, but you know, when I think I was must have been about 15, 16-ish to be precise. You know, the problems at home were so overpowering, and I think I heard my mom once say that, you know, I'm not going to eat right now. Can I eat this meal and stuff? You know, so I think I heard that, and then my mom left the church. She would always spend all day every day in church, and my dad would spend all day every day in this place that he worked at, because he just wanted to stay away from me. So I heard this before they left, and the person in me was like, you know, but I know that I don't have the benefit of understanding of business and all of that, but I want to do something. And we used to live in a 400 square feet house in Austin town. And you know, have you seen these BDA properties?
Yeah.
They're really super tiny, compact. And their staircases are really compact. So we were on the third floor without any lift. So my parents left, and My mom returned at about 3 o'clock to just see me just outside my house, the pathway. I've put a table. I've taken everything out of my house, like rubbers, sharpeners, pencils, whatever I had, clothes, my dolls, all of that. And I stacked them on that table, and I've put a price on everything, saying, people will pass by this building and I will sell it. And I will be a good seller, and I will take whatever that money is and I will give this to my parents, And it's the funniest thing that's ever
But
happened.
it's like the sweetest thing, yeah.
No, but it was also like, what was I thinking? Who's going to come to PDA flats at that point in time? Who's even going to come to the third floor apart from my neighbors, you know? Although my neighbors had these friends that would come, and I think that was my motivation, saying, okay, we'll buy one rubber. If it's 2 rupees,
Which
I'll
is
sell it
like
for 4 rupees.
4 rupees. Wow.
Because I'm selling it. And I realized that day that the point wasn't anymore about my parents or what they were going through. I realized at that point in time that I am this person who chose to accumulate myself with like real life experiences to be able to do anything that I want to do. That was the time, I think, 14 or 15. And that's never stopped. Okay. Every time, every place I travel, I'm always drawing inspiration from people. So many people have taught me so many good things. Everyone around me teaches things. You are teaching me such amazing things at this point while I'm talking to you, right? So I think for me, I am but only an amalgamation of every person, every individual, every place, every situation. Yes, becoming a spiritual therapist over the last 2 years has helped me clear out the clutter.
Who is a spiritual therapist? It's the first time I've heard of that phrase.
It's a self...
yeah.
Where's my crown? Nane nange kottiddu.
I'm a spiritual therapist.
Yes.
But define it. At least define the crown. What do you define this crown as?
I feel like...
And I'm glad, like you're saying, it's a self-proclaimed crown. Crown, so be it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want you to define...
Queen K.
Yeah. I want you to...
Nothing like that. Has to... there's
you
a
need-
prince
you
who's
need
listening to
things.
this podcast. Please come on a white horse.
I hope you are. I really hope you are.
I hope you are, for the sake of OAPN network, not for the sake of me. Adarsh is very cute and very good looking, Mr. Prince. He could help you in multiple ways. I don't know how, but...
Wow, thank you
Yeah.
for the...
And Aditya, who you can't see, has the most genuine smile I've seen in a really, really long
There
time.
you go, brother. So anyway, please define the crown for me.
Okay, so I got licensed with psychology a couple of years ago when I used to live in LA. I learned psychology. I learned the art of counseling and what therapy could actually do to a lot of people. Again, a route that I never thought I'd take because I just didn't want, and I've never wanted to be my mom somewhere. Sorry, Ma. I love you. But I never wanted to be in a place where I'm this support system to a lot of people's stories. And I just felt so privileged to know so many people's, inner thoughts. And I didn't want. But LA changed it a lot for me. Living in LA, of course, I think at this point in time, India still has a huge stigma with therapy. Yeah. Even though a lot of, countless people are talking about it. I think the stigma is still standing at a good 70 or 80%.
It's very strong.
Very, very. But in the US, it's not. Everyone's okay to talk about what's messing their head up. The fact that people walk on the streets and you don't even know them and they're like, say, hey, how are you? And they walk by. No one expects an answer. No one's really like, hey, how are you, Macha? You know what happened yesterday? That's not happening, right? It's a really comfortable way of saying, I understand that you're going through things. You understand that it is. And that changed a lot for me. And I studied that. And I used to work with the homeless people on the streets. Okay. I would love sitting with them, talking to them, getting to know their stories. I've given haircuts. I've had meals with the homeless people on the street. It just made me feel like they are such amazing people, such powerful stories of why. And some people choose to be homeless.
What are you saying?
Some people, I know of a few stories where there's one guy.
What's the reason?
this one guy, I remember, Jacob, he's this 56-year-old guy with long hair, doesn't wash his hair, doesn't want to cut his hair. And he sits on the Hollywood Boulevard. And, when I was sitting with him, he was like, why? Why do I have to do anything? Why do I have to work hard for my meal? Anyway, the government is shit. Anyway, anywhere I go, people don't want to accept me for my race or my color. If I'm accepted here, the next door doesn't want to. Someone or the other has a problem. And I decided that I felt like I kept jumping, like I was work hopping, trying to figure out where I'm going to fit in. When it came to my family, if my mom said something, my dad would have a problem, and so would someone else. No one was ever convinced and happy about the person that I am.
That I'm good enough.
So my life was all about trying to do this for other people and not myself. So I just decided I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm not going to lift a finger. I'm just going to sit here. I'm homeless. I'm going to put a board. I'm going to get my money. I'm going to eat the best meals possible. I'm going to sleep wherever I can. I can go wherever I can. I don't have to pay tax. I don't have to worry about what someone thinks about me. And I was like,
wow.
When you actually think about it, that perspective is so like deeper than I could ever fathom it.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, so I just felt like I was in a place where I could connect to these stories. I could put a smile on my face. And I instantly realized that I was a non-judgmental person. It didn't come with the occupation. It came prior to the occupation. And and also because I felt like, my mom always said, Kenna, you just go out there, be whatever you want to be. You say whatever you want to say. You do whatever you want to say. Do whatever you want to do. Sorry, forgot my grammar for a minute. And I just want to be able to give that to everyone in my life. It started like that. I really, really enjoyed it. Came when I moved back to Bangalore, I started a company called Privy Mind.
What's it called?
Privy Mind.
Okay.
Worked with a bunch of amazing psychologists, therapists from across the country. And we would mainly consult with corporates and give them corporate services. During the pandemic, 2020.
It kicked off.
Or 2021, I went through a really bad breakup. Supremely bad, where it put me in bed and I was hospitalized.
How long was the relationship?
Well, we dated for about 9 months, but sometimes it's never about the time.
Yeah, it's not about, I agree.
I think I had met someone I loved so much. I actually fell in love. I hadn't fallen in love in over 13 years or more, longer than that. And I met this person.
This relationship, you're saying, the 8-9 months.
Yeah. And I think he fell in love too at that point.
You hadn't felt like that in 13 years, you're saying?
No. I don't think I had fallen in love. It was so hard for me to open up to anyone and feel the way I actually felt with him. And he was no glitz, no glamour, nothing loud. He was not on social media. He was still himself. He didn't like going to parties. He's a lot more intelligent than
Than you thought?
No. Then when we first met, because obviously we're not in touch right now. He was everything that my books read. When as a child I would manifest, this is the kind of man I wanted to be with. He carried that aura, and he always talked to me with respect. He always he always looked at me like, you could sing for all I care, but you are going to get all the respect. You're not a piece of meat. And for the first time in a very long time had I felt like that with a man, which was the biggest reason I wanted to give him my heart, my life, my soul, my fingernail, my hair, everything,
Because he gave you respect,
and saw me for who I was. Didn't demean the work I did. Didn't say things like, oh, you're a singer, you must be doing like other things to be able to
get ahead.
Never for once did he doubt my skin. And we are in together right now, and I don't even know if he'll hear this because he's not on social media, but he's always going to have like my ever dying respect. Like even to my deathbed, I think I would respect him and love him. And I don't know if I'll be able to love someone like that. But that breakup, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, food, habitat, everything broke me apart. Like it just tore me down to a place where I was like,
this is
I mean, who the fuck am I? What is this?
What is this?
Why am I this person? In the past, when I've been in like chota mota relationships where I've met people and either I've not felt it or they've not felt it, I've been like, poda de.
Fuck it.
You know, like that.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, it's never played a big thing. But
This
him
one really messed
leaving,
you up.
was there.
Yeah, but again, I think life's really not kind like that. Growing up, I used to feel like once you go through some amount of shit, life's like, this is fine. This guy's gone through shit. Now let's not give him shit. It's not true. Life is not kind. Life will give you everything that you're anyway gonna get.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That is it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you think it's going great. The fuck ups that are meant to happen are going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
Your response to it, you decide. But hey, you know what? These are the bunch of fuck ups that are coming your way, and they don't stop. Periodically, they do keep coming back.
Yeah.
Right? Did you expect that to happen with you?
With this guy, no. No, I think I felt like when I was with him, I felt like all my karmas were paid for, and suddenly I met this person.
That's another thing. Yeah.
Who would want to, who was open to give me the world, even if he's the most unmaterialistic person I've ever met in this world. Like I can't even believe someone like him exists. He's that amazing, and I realized that what broke us apart was not us. It was factors outside of it. It was family, it was this, it was that. It was a pure misunderstanding that broke us up. But that misunderstanding was so loud on that day. In that day, and in the nature that it conspired in. There was no coming back from it, and I knew I had messed up in a certain, in a certain dimension of that, and I realized at that point that my king had, had the best of everything, but had the best of temper also. I didn't know it until then. He had never subjected me to his anger until then. There was no need for it, So I realized when that happened that. There were so many unhealed parts in me that the universe didn't want me to settle down with just that. If you look at life, you're the most happiest when you allow for it to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you run behind something, if you run behind a person or a thing and you want it because you saw it, I saw that girl. She has a beautiful eyes and she's my wife now. I'm locking it. What if that person is not? What if that person?
You sounded like him.
Yes. Yeah. I think I'm reflecting a few people right now. Sorry. But I just realized that what if that person is not it? Yeah. What if the universe wants you to just? I truly believe everybody who comes in your life either come to give you a lesson or give you love. It's either a blessing or a lesson. Yeah. And if they're a blessing, that means they're meant to stay, and they're good with you. If they leave, that means they've come to teach you a lesson. Sometimes we learn those lessons, sometimes we don't. And when we don't learn the lessons, the patterns repeat and we keep attracting people like that again. And I realized that's what happened with him. Yeah. I needed to take a pause. I needed to work on myself. I needed to heal. And that's when I found someone who said, listen, can I give you a Reiki session? Because you look like in Tamil, they say, chappi pota manga kotte.
Can please
a sucked up mango seed. I looked like that, Yeah. I was crazy bad.
Trained out.
And they said, Reiki, why don't we give you a session? You might feel better. And I said, I was a staunch Catholic girl. Jesus was life. Jesus was bae. Whatever happened, I'd be like, Jesus will take care of it. And it wasn't helping. Jesus, nothing was helping at that point to get out of, feeling like my king wasn't beside of me. I went through Reiki. I think I slept in a good 6 months. I actually slept in peace when I did that. And then I started wondering, my skepticism wasn't the same as it started when it was. So I started with that. I learned that. And then my teacher said, listen, I think you should know that you are intuitive, you are psychic, and it's always been in you. So maybe you want to explore it. And I was like, but I believe in
I'm-
psychology. I believe in the
Yeah.
math. I believe in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
science. I don't want to do this. I understand. I've had a great few sessions. I learned Reiki and I love it. I'm going to use it on
It's
myself.
real. It does help.
It
Yeah.
definitely
If used in the right
helps.
way, it does help.
If used
Yeah.
in the right way.
Yeah.
Key being that. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people use it for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
And when you use it for the wrong reasons, karma is even
It's-
bigger than you can imagine.
You gotta pay huge.
Huge. As a
for it.
spiritual therapist, if I wrong you today 2%, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
125%.
Yeah.
That's the math. It
Because,
doesn't make sense.
Very few people have the ability to feel that type of energy and also transfer it.
Yeah.
First of all, realize that that energy exists.
Yeah.
And second, learn scientifically how you can actually transfer it.
Yeah.
And when you get that, you realize that there's a reason why you're able to do that.
Yeah,
And if you do
of
it for the
course.
wrong reasons, then
Of course. Yeah. So I started with Reiki and then I became a grandmaster with that.
lovely.
With that
That's-
modality.
that's amazing.
And it's beautiful. It
is,
really
it is.
opened so much for me. And now when I got that grandmastership, it's only a rabbit hole.
What do you mean?
You just want to learn more and see what more and what
It's
more,
just
how much
the beginning
more.
of,
Yeah.
and you never wanted it, but then now you can't.
I can't run away from it.
Maybe it's like a duty, right? That's,
It is a calling, for sure.
Yeah, it is a.
It is
you
one of my
can't say
callings.
no to it
Yeah.
because again, you said your mom had some
And I
amount
think
of
both my
experience.
parents,
and-
for the
Is
longest
it?
time,
Okay.
they always had people coming to them for things, whether emotional or financial. They would always come there, and they always found like good ground with my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I learned Reiki, and then I learned tarot.
Wow.
And then I learned something called as the Mahakali scheme, which works on helping people that are suffering with black magic and evil eye. And then I learned something called as the Homkara healing, which disconnects your ego self with you. And then I learned Lama Fera is a Buddhist, one of the Buddhist modalities. That is beautiful. You kind of help with your past life karmas. You disconnect karmas for people. You cut karmic debts, karmic cords. You help with relationships today. You help with people's abundance energies that are blocked. So many things. And then I was introduced to Theta. Theta healing is the most highest form of healing in the dimension of healing, because it's God waves. It's where God resides. And for us, God is no more a person with a gender. It's light. It's just light. It's pure, beautiful, pearlescent light. And in the process of Theta, you go up to the level of the light and you co-create with God. And you're able to and when you channel healings from Theta, it's pretty much instant. And you can manifest instantly, you can heal instantly, and it's beautiful. And for the last 2 years, I can't tell you the space that I've been in, even with myself. I think I'm at least 40% better as a human from what I used to be, and I'll always have things to learn. So I club psychology and spirituality, and I call myself a spiritual therapist, just so that I'm able to give the right kind of help. If Adarsh walks to me tomorrow and he is skeptic about a certain dimension in what I'm doing, I'm happy to use the science to be able to help him, or vice versa. So in that space, I want to be everyone's cup of tea.
You mentioned that this theta energy, is that what it's called? Theta waves?
Nice, you're listening.
Yeah, of course.
Nice, Maja. Congratulations.
Of course.
Congratulations.
What do you
You have won my respect.
So
already,
you're saying when you draw energy from that, when you're in line or in alignment with those waves or that energy, the manifestation or the healing is almost immediate. But tell me this, right? Now, for you, for example, you're able to understand that energy and you're able to draw energy from that. You're also able to heal people around and everything else.
I don't like the word heal.
Okay.
But I call it intuitive anatomy.
Sure. And the question is, this ability is usually given and it can be used for the people around rather than yourself.
Sure.
Right? Because I feel like you can't, and tell me if I'm wrong, right? This is just my interpretation of whatever you just said, because I have only limited information about all of this in terms of what I've read. I just feel like that energy, that ability is for to help people around you rather than yourself, because somewhere the universe, the power, the energy that we believe in wants to ensure that unless you help the people around you, it doesn't really come back to you. It's not all for yourself.
Of course.
The ability to do that is not for yourself, and that's what my interpretation is. But what do you think it is? Unless you do this, the inner work doesn't grow.
No, I'm trying to phrase this right.
Yeah.
Someone very important to me told me this, that you come into this world to learn, and you only get happier when you share. And so everything in my life for me is that.
Yeah.
Of course, when you learn healing modalities, yes, it helps you a lot because you are also struggling, and that's why you would learn something like that. And it really helps in slowly but surely getting out of anything that is termed negative. But the abundance of blessings that comes when you help another person. When I'm in a session, I do sessions with people, and the next second is so beautiful for me because I know something has changed in my life. So that abundance is a lot more bigger than you doing it for yourself. And just like normal therapy, even for us, I need help with my own from my own teachers.
And it's a different work altogether. It's not
because I'm subjecting myself to so many people's negativity. Their not negativity, but their gravitas is very different from mine. Their storage is very different from mine, and I'm subjecting myself, my energy, my aura to all of that. So I need the cleansing myself from time to time. But what is definitely gratifying is when I get messages in like a week saying, I can't even believe that you did this, and then this has changed randomly in my life. Because it's no more about talking in therapy. You witness things in theta, and you're able to really, really suck the life out of that problem in your life more to be supremely accurate. It definitely helps you. It helps in your growth. I'm here now. I wouldn't want to do anything apart from being someday being the most amazing singer that someone can enjoy, and the best person in this healing space where I could really, really put a smile on people's face. I wouldn't want to do anything else. I still have a lot of love for IAS officers and people and things that I wanted to do in the past, but I would
nothing
choose
beats
nothing.
this.
No.
Yeah.
I'm the most happiest girl alive right now. I feel like I'm a big ball of gratitude and sunshine and spring fields and all of that, and I just want to be so. I don't care about how someone else sees me, what they want to look at me for. If you feel like you like my eyes, thank you. If you feel like you like my hair, thank you. If you feel like I have an accent, I'm sorry, but thank you. If you feel like you don't enjoy my music, I'm sorry you feel that way, but thank you, because I'm celebrating it. I'm in that space of my sweetest darlings, you do you, and I'm gonna do me. And if our paths cross, I'll try to be the best version I can at this point in time.
Yeah, and there are gonna be people who still want bad for you, and who gonna throw some eggs at you, and who are gonna want you to fail.
Again, that's gonna change if you start changing, right?
But there's always going to be a minority, I feel. And that will just be because of who they are. And maybe you just cross their paths at the wrong time, and that's pretty much it.
Also, Adarsh, why should everyone like you?
Yeah.
You don't like everyone.
Yeah, fuck it.
When you get out there, it's not like, oh my God, you're amazing. No, you don't like so many people, right? I clearly on this podcast said excruciatingly that there are some people who can't sing. So which means I don't celebrate that person. So why should I expect everyone to like me for exactly who I am? They can take their time. If they have an opinion, they're allowed to. If it doesn't sit with me, I'm going to just disconnect myself from there. I don't want to be in a place of, fighting it out, buddy. I mean, How do I know why you want to feel a certain way about me? It's,
Yeah.
again, your perception of me is only a reflection of yourself. So I'm in a place where I don't care. I mean, I don't care about the things that I read on Instagram and the things that people are saying. Oh, you've got to be this. You have to be you have to be kind. You have to be warm. Of course, but I need to start that with myself. If I'm not able to channel that for myself, I'll never be able to give it to you. So for the next 2-3 years, the focus is me. The focus is how can I be better than yesterday? How can I be a better singer? How can I be a better talent? Creatively, how can I grow? Can I actually write better songs? In the field of psychology and healing, can I actually like immerse myself a lot more and see if I find people who really needed to be helped? Can I cook better food? Can I find outfits that are not flamboyant but still will help me fit my skin well into it? Can I go fully no makeup, which I'm almost there. All of this for me is, I feel like the next 2-3 years.
The next 2-3 years.
Yeah. And if you are in my life at that point in time, and if you want to be a part of my celebration in whichever relationship aspect, I will sit beside you and I will celebrate you to the moon and back. But I think I'm going to start with myself.
Lovely.
Right now.
Lovely. I think that's a beautiful end to the episode.
We have came to the end.
Games to the end.
Thank you for... don't know what and all I said, guys. Okay. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get DMs about this and that and this and that. I'm just saying that, at the end of the day, I have a lot of love for everyone who's watching me, and who's also, all of you guys have been open to hearing me with Adarsh on this episode, amongst the brilliant other people that have been here. But I hope anything that I've said doesn't come across as offensive or rude. If it did, I didn't mean it that way. It's just my perspective and where I stand at this point in time. So just one disclaimer, ma. Otherwise, I will get DMs. Hey, Kenisha, what are you told that one, ma? Huh? What is that? What is that line that you made?
Feel like you've been spending a lot of time with Gubi. Gubi speaks like this 24/7. This Shivjinagar accent is there in me for the longest time. This is because of Vineet Vincent. I've known Danish for like a really long time, and we've all like grown up in the same. Like we speak in that accent half the time, I think. But anyway, it's nice to hear.
I used to do that in LA as well. And people would be like, "Okay, now you're Indian." In LA, no one accepted that I was Indian for some reason. They always thought, "No, you're Latina." I was like, "Okay, baby, make me one. I don't care." But then when I have to like put this essence, I'd be like, "But what, Ramacha? You came off like that?" And they'd be like, Indian. Sorry, I screwed it up for us there, but
no,
small percentage.
That's the right representation.
No,
I mean it is.
Well,
the fact that you're mocking it is nice.
I feel like Indians are super powerful, the most powerful.
It is
the most intelligent also.
But at the same time, we are comfortable in our skin. That's what I meant. We are comfortable in who we are.
Yeah,
and that many people don't see.
Yeah,
we know who we are. We know what we got. We don't try too hard to please.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Anyway, thanks, Kenisha.
I like this episode because
Glad.
you're the first person in the world who said, "Kenisha, please sing." You didn't say that.
Yeah.
It's like calling a cricketer and say, "Oh, you're a cricketer, huh? You play
one ball.
Play like hit one ball. Hit one sixer right now, and sure." They don't say to them. Yeah. But thank you.
There's enough of you singing anyway for people, and I
said it in a very bad way, guys.
No, I didn't mean that.
Please, world, give me more chances to sing.
Shit. Now that I think of it.
I need more chances to sing. I need to be able to. That stadium, he said no little while earlier. I want to manifest that. Please be open to listening to my voice.
So much of us singing.
Shut up, damage done. Bloody. There's enough of. You know what he said? He was like, there's already enough of you singing. So let's not, madam. I just want to tell you that your eyes are beautiful right now on this episode.
Wow. Sorry about that.
Guys, yet again, we find ourselves in a place where we've met a boy who matches everything else that we spoke about in this episode. Yeah, so please send all the DMs and the aggression to Adarsh Sakare,
Give
like
it.
the sugar, Mr. Sugar,
Give it
and with me, or can send me love and light.
Done. I'll take all this shit, no worries. And give her all the sweetness.
Thank
but
you.
Kenisha, I think you've been sweet.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
There's something me and Aditya always speak about, and I think you're one of those people who'll understand that. Once the guest leaves the studio, one thing we always say, we meet so many people here, and the conversations generate a certain amount of energy, and we feel like this room has gathered like so much energy over time, and it's very intense.
Of course.
For us, like some of the times, because we feel it. Every person who sits
Every
here,
person brings in a
it's a
new
different
form.
energy,
Yeah.
and we're like, you know what, this place is becoming more and more special to us because it's gathering so much energy, so much positive energy, and thank you for adding to the energy of this room. That's what I wanted to
That's
like.
a very sweet thing to say. Thank you for having me. I consider it a huge honor to be here, spend time with you. More than anything, both of you have given me so much love and your time and your space and your energy. So thank you. And I hope that everything that you're trying to achieve with this podcast sort of just magnifies and
We'll do it. We'll be walking parallelly with you.
Yay, I
We'll
will
be
love
watching
that.
you win. And
Are you sure?
will
You
be
just said you
watching
don't
us
want
win.
me to sing.
No, we'll be,
Enough of you singing.
we'll be cheering for you in your concert for sure.
Yes,
when
on
you
that
sell
note,
out
please
that
come to
stadium.
my concert on...
We will. On the 9th.
Yes,
Yeah,
I don't know if people can hear this, if it's going out before the 9th, but...
That'll be tough.
Yeah, so then I'm just telling both of you,
Anyway,
please still come
So
in.
thanks for making it. All the best.
Thank you.
I think people who are going to be associated with you should feel blessed because they have an opportunity to experience something
Trying to damage control, ladies and gentlemen.
beyond feeling
Damage is
human. Wow.
done.
She's not letting me take my words back. But anyway, this was...
But guys, please send a lot of love to OAPN Network. On a personal note, very personally he has asked me enough of my music. It has been a very personal remark. But apart from that, I think these boys are lovely and all the work that they're doing is lovely. So please go out there, support them, DM them and tell them who you'd like to hear from, who you'd like to speak to, because there are such interesting stories out in the world. I'm a fragment and I think a lot of people could use this platform. So give them love because no one can get enough of them.
Thank you. That's going to be the advertisement for OAPN going forward. Thank you so much. And we didn't pay her to do that. I'm telling you right now. Thank you so much.
Hey, they are paying me, don't they? You promised me idli vada sambar. What do you mean?
Yeah, done.
I want the Karnataka sambar. Namaskara. Namaste galu.
Okay, this was episode 65 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. This was Kenishaa Francis for you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have watched till here, you better let us know in the comments because then we'll know who are the ones who watched till here and you all are the special ones. See you on the next one.